I've started doing some cold weather camping with my son and his Boy Scout troop and realized pretty quickly that I needed sort of an insulated sleeping pad for those cold nights on the cold ground. I decided to give the Thermarest Basecamp sleep pad a try. Now, this is probably not the smallest option in the world, but we don't hike more than, say, a mile or so to get to our campsites, so I think this will work out just fine, even though it's a little bit bulky. We'll take a quick look at the packed up dimensions. You can see this thing measures roughly 22.5 inches long, and it's about 6 inches in diameter or so, and it weighs in at about 2.8 pounds. Now, it should be noted that this is the regular size sleeping pad, as you can see here by this R. That means that fully extended, this thing is 72 inches. Now, there are bigger sizes available, and those, of course, will have a little bit different packed size and, of course, weigh a little bit more. Now, one thing to note about the stuff sack is that there's sort of a handle on the back of it, so you can hold it and pull the mattress out like that. So this comes from the factory with sort of shrink wrap around it. I'm going to remove that and throw it away. We're not going to need it again. So as soon as I take that off, this thing starts to kind of want to inflate. Once this is unrolled, the foam inside kind of starts to expand and sort of starts to inflate itself. But to kind of help it out, I'm going to open this valve to make sure air can get in, and we're just going to let this sit for a few minutes while it kind of settles. Now, if we take a closer look at the valve, right now it is in the fully closed position. If I open up the black piece by turning it counterclockwise, it opens up the inlet so that air can flow in. But there is sort of a check valve in there right now that doesn't allow the air to flow out. This is the position the valve needs to be in when it's in sort of self-inflation mode, or when you're trying to blow into it to force inflate it. Once the mattress is done being inflated, the black part of the valve is turned clockwise to fully close it. When it's time to deflate the mattress, I turn the black part counterclockwise to open it, and then grab the green handles and turn the inner part counterclockwise as well to fully open the valve. And then once again, when it's time to reinflate, you just turn the green handles clockwise to close the inner part of the valve, leave the black part open, and you can either let it self-inflate or, again, put air into it. So it's kind of a chilly day in the low 30s right now. I've let this sit out here for about 10 or 15 minutes, and it's kind of inflated but needs a little bit more help. So I'm going to add some breaths through the valve, and that should get it the rest of the way. Now that the pad is fully inflated, I'm going to put it in the tent and give it a quick try. Now, as I mentioned before, this is a 72-inch pad. The tent behind me is a Nemo Aurora, and I think that's an 80 or maybe 82-inch long tent, so this should have no trouble fitting in here. My first impressions of laying on this thing are that it's fairly comfortable. Now, I've got it maybe inflated just a little bit much. It's kind of bouncy, but I can let a little air out of that valve and adjust for that. Now, I can definitely tell that I'm insulated from the ground. Just from the little bit of time that I've sort of been laying on here, I can feel sort of my body heat kind of warming up underneath me, and I don't feel kind of cold ground. So I think this is going to do the job. I'll also mention that I'm normally a side sleeper, and kind of laying on my side here, I feel plenty of support from the mattress, and I don't feel like any of my pressure points are sagging through and touching the ground. So I won't really know until I actually sleep on this thing, but first impressions are that it's fairly comfortable and should work out just fine. As I mentioned before, this is the 72-inch pad. I am 5 foot 6 inches tall, so I fit just fine on this pad with a little bit of room to spare. Now, if you're taller, you obviously will want to consider getting the longer pad. So now I'll get the mattress out of here and we'll see what it looks like to deflate it. So to deflate the mattress, I'll turn the black part of the valve counterclockwise to open it, and then I'll turn the green part of the valve also counterclockwise, and you can hear the air coming out. Now I'm just going to roll this up, starting from the end opposite the valve. Now as I go along, I'm going to want to put some pressure on here and keep this roll nice and tight to make sure I get all the excess air squeezed out of here. Now I'm going to close up both sections of the valve so that air doesn't get sucked back into the mattress. And now, of course, I can just put it back in the stuff sack and we should be good to go. Now, even though I've got this packed up, I'm not going to leave it like this for storage. Thermarest recommends unrolling it and storing it flat to extend the life of the sleeping pad. Now, if you want to learn more about the Thermarest sleeping pad, or maybe you're interested in buying one, I'll leave a product link down in the video description below. Thanks for watching.